Welcome to your second to last Friday Forum. And do we have a treat for you tonight? Morning. So I'm here to introduce Matt Walker, and the presentation is entitled Lights, Camera, Holy Shit. Now, we can't start a presentation like that with low energy. And Matt went to the University of Oregon for undergrad, and for those of you who are unfamiliar, they're the Ducks. Now, I think we all know a little cheer that Ducks like from our friends, the Mighty Ducks. So if you'll join in with me, quack, 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 quack.
I just want to see how long we can do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Walker.
We've got a bunch of interesting creatives who've been selected who've never worked together. They're going to get together today for the first time and figure out how to build an ad campaign. You have a finite amount of time, you have intense brief, you have a client basically living with you. It's either going to be great or it's going to be a fucking disaster, but pressure makes diamonds, so 3 days should be enough to kind of figure something out.
We don't actually have to like each other, but we will.
Then we panic and freak out.
I'm pretty good at panicking while freaking out.
It's going to get weird.
Our tension, the challenge here is how do we keep our mission front and center, but also marry that and balance that with fashion?
Do they look like models? Or do they look like regular people?
I happen to have a couple Glamour magazines. No, that was a joke. I don't have a subscription to Glamour.
We would love to have the look and feel of the core campaign.
Fashionable, honorable, sustainable. How can we represent that?
We had to break out of that sea of sameness.
We're using the power to the message.
What you're describing right now is where we started.
Thank you.
I think we're gonna get there. I know we're gonna get there.
It's not a discussion anymore at this point.
When we interview them, we need sound. We need to hear from them.
You didn't use any of it, you had a very loud baby.
He's covering up the whole bag.
You can only get so much out of this.
Drama is gonna make the picture better.
People will say, wow, what an elevated, beautiful ad for TV, but it's not going to grab somebody's attention.
I got anxious about the campaign turning on itself.
If I can't look through this and remember it, that's a bad sign.
Tell me.
Come on.
What do you want?
Not gonna be arrested?
No, I'm not arrested yet.
Look, I'm leaving. This is crazy. Oh,
It's still New York without being in the middle of everything.
amazing.
You like that one?
So yeah, hi, I'm Matt. I'm just gonna take you guys through a little crazy ass experience that I had about a year ago. That's a new trailer that Adobe just cut together. They're gonna relaunch this whole series on Hulu and Netflix and some other larger format kind of programs, or longer format channels rather. Before I get into that, I do want to tell you guys just a little bit about me. Here's my backstory. I have been kind of a creative soul throughout my entire life. I started writing books when I was a kid. I'd lay down in the family room, get in front of the fireplace, and just start writing. So I think for the creatives in this room, it's just a part of your DNA. It's just what you do, and you can't not do it. So at some point, I had this crazy ass idea that I was going to attend the USC Film School, which of course boasts famous alumni like Judd Apatow, George Lucas, Ron Howard, Freddie Wong, Steven Spielberg. Actually, he didn't get accepted into the USC Film School, and they later realized, oh shit, we made a mistake. And they gave him an honorary degree, of course, so they didn't look like complete idiots. But he didn't get in, and neither did I. So, whatever, USC, take that. But I ended up going somewhere else, and it actually changed my life. And I'm gonna get that off the screen for you. And here's where I landed. This was my undergrad school.
Some call it campus, but we know it as home. Home to nearly 3,000 different types of trees. Home to students from 97 countries and all 50 United States. Home to change, progress, and innovation. Home to nearly 25,000 ducks flying from all directions to be here, where if drives you, pushing you to new limits. Here, where fall brings change. Trees turning beautiful colors. The air begins to cool and lights shine a little brighter. Fall turns our home into a beautiful canvas of orange, red, green, and yellow. 25,000 students begin to transform into one beautiful flock, loving, brave, and smart. As winter approaches, the leaves begin to fall from their perches and hit the soft ground. Summer clothing is replaced with scarves and gloves. Fall has brought change, and with change, curiosity and wonder. Isn't our home magnificent? The University of Oregon.
It gets me. I love my alma mater. I mean, I really love my alma mater, just as I'm sure you guys will love and always remember your time here at the Brand Center. Part of why it was so meaningful for me was this guy. He was my advertising 101 professor. I didn't get into film school. I was considering photojournalism. I took that first class, and at the end of it, he pulled me aside and just said, hey, you know, Matt, you're really good at this. Have you ever considered maybe doing this as a career? And no one had ever done that for me. No teacher, no professor, not even my parents. Like, no one had ever done that for me. So he introduced me to the faculty, he gave me a copy of Bill Bernbach's book, and I was hooked. And from then on, I just started to absorb everything the University of Oregon had. And it just changed my way of thinking. There was just something about that school that allowed me to expand my mind in new and different ways. And it just opened things up for me. But anyway, that part definitely helped. It still does. Here's where I work. I'm not going to show you guys a reel or anything like that. If you want to check out the agency or our work, go to the interwebs, white64.com. But what I really want to show you is our new sign. We installed a new sign about 2 weeks ago. We actually completed it. It's not HTE64, it's White64. And I always love to just take random pictures of things. And I snapped this one shot of the sign, which I really love because it's just floating in this black void, like floating in space, like in deep, deep, deep space. The kind of deep space where you get to meet these just like crazy-ass aliens. And that kind of got me thinking about the people that work at White64, because I do think of them as aliens, because they come up with such otherworldly ideas that you think there's no way on earth that these people can be from this earth. So I get to work with a bunch of amazing aliens. Unfortunately, on this earth, there's also this guy who hates aliens for whatever reason, but I don't really care what he thinks, because you know, he's that, so yeah. So White64 has been around since 1964. It's a family-owned agency. We're about 40, 45 strong. And we are a fiercely independent shop, and we like that. That's a part of our culture. That's a part of our vibe. We get to do what we want to do. We get to do what's best for our clients. We get to do what's best for their consumers. We're not beholden to stockholders, which is a really nice feeling. So it's enough about where I work. This is my presentation. As you guys heard, it's lights, camera, holy shit. Finding comfort in the uncomfortable. And this is actually a large part of what I preach at the agency. I'm a huge proponent of just getting out and experiencing as much as humanly possible. You always want to put yourself in these uncomfortable situations to bring new experiences to the table. This applies to everyone, I think, especially for creatives, because the more you get to do out and do different things, get to go out and do different things, you're gonna bring these experiences back to the table. You're gonna have a greater understanding of different cultures and different situations, and you will tell deeper and richer stories. So when I was asked, Matt, would you like to go through the whole creative process while your camera's on you and you're mic'd up the entire time? I was freaked out, but I said, yes. So whenever anyone asks you to do something that you feel will completely push you out of your comfort zone, the answer to that question is always yes. Want to go skydiving with a clown? Yes. Want to run with the bulls in Pamplona? Yes. Don't get gored. Want to give a presentation at the Miami Ad School? No. Want to give a presentation at the Brand Center? Hell yes. So, right? So here's a little bit of my journey with Adobe. It actually started with a series of phone interviews. They were reaching out to teams of, well, not teams, but individual art directors and copywriters for this project. And I had a couple phone interviews with them. And, back one. Part of my initial phone call, I wanted to know exactly what this process was going to be like. So I asked them about, AMC's infamous The Pitch, and I told them, I think a part of the reason that this show failed is because they had this amazing ability of always making one person in every episode look like a total asshole. And it made sure they knew that I was really, really good at doing that all on my own, and I didn't need their help. They were a little shocked by the question. They assured me that they wouldn't, and they didn't. The edit actually helped me out a lot, so thank you for that, Adobe. So I got accepted, I signed on. Literally, I think 2 days later, I flew out to New York. I got there early, I was there by myself, got a bagel, sat down in a chair, turned around, and saw this. Camera, just staring right at me. I see everyone setting up, and that's when I realized, holy shit, I'm in for a ride.
Today, Adobe and Feed are coming together to build a campaign for this holiday, and we've got a bunch of interesting creatives who've been selected who've never worked together, and they're going to get together today for the first time and figure out how to build an ad campaign. Meeting with Lauren a bunch in the lead up to this, we talked about how could we get comfortable with sort of pushing the boundaries of the brand a little bit and not just do the same thing that's been done before. You have a finite amount of time, you have intense brief, you have the client basically living with you for 3 days. So my role is sort of phantom creative director. I'll be in and out and I'll be supporting them as they work through their own ideas. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think that some of the best work often comes out of those types of odd constraints that you put around creative problem solving. It's either going to be great or it's going to be a fucking disaster, but pressure makes diamonds, so 3 days should be enough to kind of figure something out.
So Mike, is this your place? Your
This is the compound, yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, my
Thanks for
pleasure.
doing this, man.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
It's an unreal kind of surreal experience, but yeah, I mean, if you get to do it for this,
yeah,
you gotta jump, right?
I feel like as a career, as we get older, like we need a little bit of a push. Something where I feel scared again. Like I need to be able to do one thing that is like completely out of my comfort zone.
Fear is just a part of the ride. What's next? What's next? What's next? I don't know. And you have to kind of come up with that, and that can be a scary place. You just gotta kind of acknowledge that and move the hell on. So I loved our first conversation. I need to be able to do one thing where I feel completely out of my comfort zone. That's Alejandro, he's my partner. And fear is just a part of the ride. Acknowledge that and move the hell on. That's been something that I preach at the agency as well. And it takes you a while to kind of learn that because the creative process does kind of get you to this place where you kind of start out, at the beginning of a tunnel, you get in pretty deep, and at some point you can't see light at either end of that creative tunnel. But you just have to know that it's going to be okay. If you get a little freaked out by it, just acknowledge it, embrace it, and then you see light on the other side. So Alejandro truly was my brother from another mother. For whatever reason, we just clicked. We vibed right away. I think it stemmed from that conversation where we both knew that we wanted to be there to get out of our comfort zones. And that really is a huge thing, because the best way to feel comfortable in what you're doing is to truly go ahead and embrace the uncomfortable, right? And as a creative director, I do see that as a large part of my job. My job is to create a space for people to feel comfortable doing the uncomfortable. And the more you do that, the easier it's going to be to turn this into this. And as you guys know, working together when you're in teams, especially when you've been paired up with someone for the first time, this is imperative. When you work with your team, even your clients, and you can build this foundation of trust, you're gonna be fucking unstoppable. So, we finally went, had the client show up, and we got to have the brief. Or should I say, the brief?
So last year's holiday campaign for Feed was the Come Together campaign, which was a huge success and a really big moment for us, kind of bringing together Feed advocates and supporters. This year we were so excited to kind of have our creative community involved and make it more shareable, more grassroots. So the stakes are high in my mind to create something that really is very true to our brand, communicating our message, showing our product really beautifully. I have complete faith that we'll walk away on Friday with, something that we all feel great about. So hunger still unfortunately kills more than AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis combined. 1 in 9 people around the world are born into hunger. And that's what, has struck me personally in traveling around the world. I started my journey with the UN World Food Program, and they're the largest humanitarian agency in the world. So the model of Feed is really, we're supporting these giving partners on the ground and specific programs that they're running that are really effectively fighting hunger. We're trying to sell products, but at the same time, these products have, a lot of heart and soul and story behind them. The main thing we have going for us, in a sense, is that it's very pure. It's very core to who we are.
Our tension, the challenge here is how do we keep our mission front and center, but also marry that and balance that with fashion? Hunger is a solvable problem. We know if we give school meals, if we give a meal, we can help address hunger. And I think that mission, which we really stand behind, is a point of difference in the space where people are sort of playing and adopting social causes to go with their brands as well.
I'd like to get a deeper understanding of the Feed Girl lifestyle. I mean, where does she go? What does she do? What are her hobbies, activities? Where does she like to shop? What's her story?
Now that we know, and we have always known, that our customer cares all things being equal, a product on the shelf, she wants it to express her personality and be something she loves to carry and brag about to her friends.
So for the men though, I mean, although men aren't your target audience,
they're gifting.
They are gifting,
yeah.
So what percentage of men are gifting?
In terms of people who follow Feed, 10 to 15% are male, but in terms of shopping, 25%. They are possibly digesting the content and feeling like, oh, it's something we want to buy for our wife or our kids. Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but for the planners in the room, that didn't really feel like much of a briefing session to me. That was about as good as we got. It was like maybe close to a situational background. This slide here, it's really blown out and hard to see, but this was kind of the closest thing we had to an insight. The challenge, help Feed lead with fashion without forgetting the cause. It's kind of a duh. Create a campaign that is stylish but also sticky. Okay. And the emotion it conjures and action it inspires, purchases and sharing of our mission. I didn't feel like I had a whole lot to hang my hat on at that point. So, no real insight, no creative strategy. The best thing you can do at that point is to help them clearly define a real problem. And you do that by asking questions. Questions, 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 questions. Don't be afraid ever to ask a lot of questions. The only dumb question you'll ever ask is the one you don't ask. Question away. Then, more questions, look at that. Dig in deep. Dig in deep as much as humanly possible. We actually asked to go over to Feed headquarters so we could just kind of take in their culture, their vibe, their essence, what they're really all about. We got to spend some time with their designers. We got to chat with Lauren Bush for a while. We just got to experience them and what matters to them and what the real purpose is for them, why they do what they do day in and day out. From there, after experiencing and questioning a lot, it's really just a process of connecting the dots. You've asked a lot of questions, you start to understand who their audience is a little bit better than they actually even did, and why they do what they do. So we started connecting those dots, and a strategy started to manifest after we started to figure out a certain little insight. And then, as you guys know, it's just a process of opening doors, a lot of doors. I mean, for me, it takes about getting through 100 crappy ideas to get to maybe the kernel of one slightly good idea that you can then nurture, expand upon, and grow into a great one. So that's what we started to do next, just opening a lot of doors.
Past 24 hours have been super interesting. So, I think it's got to be really hard to have a bunch of different people you've never met all get thrown in a room, get a brief, and try to solve it. They've got enough horsepower, and they've got enough resources around them, and they've certainly got enough caffeine.
Who needs food?
So there's one group who I think really just hit the ground running, and you could feel that. There's another group who I think want to fucking kill each other, and that's okay. We don't want anyone crying in the corner, but at the same time, I think manners are probably the last thing we should be focusing on at this point. We've got a job to do. Hey guys.
Hey, what's up, Mike?
How do?
We're moving, man. We like to start with things from a very strategic point of view. Basically, for this one, it's 2 lines of copy. Day at the beach, 185 days of food. It's just the flexibility and the kind of budget stretching aspect of it, because it sounds like budget. Again, I never hear that from clients. And then for social video, same kind of concept, but each bit of kind of scenic video comes out from behind the bag and so would love any feedback you have on this guy first.
Now, was there a beginning to that? There's a beginning to that. So maybe give me that first.
Jump in first? Yeah. So what we kind of wanted to do here was basically get shots of Feed Girl. We'll get a sense of what she's doing from the contents of her bag.
Yeah. The one thing that I think could be, if there's a way to angle it in, it's probably more copy than visual, is why this girl buys this bag.
Right.
And I wonder if there's a way, in the way the copy works, that it's a little less MasterCard and a little more sort of like, these are my things, and this is what I care about.
I feel like we're not off base. I feel like we're still within what we wanted to do. It's just now, the work that would have to be done in a couple days, it's massive. Because then we could set ourselves up for failure to execute this thing if we don't get enough people.
Of course we want to win. I always want to win. You always want to win. End of story. But we're going to do that by being honest to what the brand is really all about. Yeah, and that's a huge point for us. We had found out during this time that they had already cast models for us to shoot. All of their ads are going to be in fashion magazines and things like that. We looked at the casting, and there are these really beautiful, just 8-foot tall Glamazon models, and that was absolutely inauthentic to the brand for us. We really wanted to help them define who the quote Feed Girl was and help them understand what their journey is and why the bag matters to them. So we at one point actually told them to send the models home. Models? No, we don't want models. But we paid for them, we have to use them. So we ended up shooting the models, but we also progressed as we went along. After I got back from this little adventure, I sent an email off to Lauren Bush-Loren and her team, and I've kind of woven some of this throughout the presentation because it mattered a lot to me to send this off to them because the brand and what it does to help feed children around the world meant a lot to me as well. And finding a brand and a company that actually has a purpose, you can never find anything better to work on than that. So here's the first email that I sent her. It's about respect. This one came to light very early on for me, yet in a new and empowering way. Working with Alejandro, I quickly came to realize that he was an incredibly talented individual. I respected his work and his work ethic. This respect allowed me to trust. The same can be said for Gus and Lo, and our photography team. That trust allowed us to work together more efficiently. Very helpful, given the time constraints. So you'll see that trust and this collaboration really start to grow throughout this series. But for right now, let's meet Gus and Lo.
This is crazy. I mean, I can tell you, it's the first time that I'm organizing a production like that, just having less time for pre-production. But it's an adventure. I'm always from the opinion that if you have an amazing concept and if you have time to invest, to dedicate it, the result is gonna be amazing. As we don't have the concept, we were trying to have a plan and to try to offer all possibilities to make it happen. I'm kind of fast trying to find solutions all the time. They are asking you like new ideas that they are coming up to their minds. You need to be prepared or at least to have an option.
If we had a drone, and it doesn't have to be super high quality like the film, it would be nice if it was HD. Can we do that? Can we get a drone?
It's not allowed in New York City.
Like what if we did it on the wall and we just panned away from the wall?
Yeah, we will see.
We worked hard for everything.
We love your treatment. I think it's gonna be great.
Okay.
Very well done.
Thank you. At least you weren't gone.
You see that?
We're kind of scared.
It would be doing something similar to this, but it would be more pretty. Be what you guys would bring to it, you know?
Playing around with not showing the faces of the models and all that stuff, so you can see the backs a little more. But
focus on the back, right?
You see most of the model. We want to make her up in case we change our mind and wanting to show the face, but it's really not too much about her. It's more cropping into the bag as the hero.
We feel very confident.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
That is very nice.
Oh, good, thank you.
We're going to just kind of walk through what exactly it is that we're going to capture. And this is, of course, your style reference, because we talked with you about it.
When you land on it, it starts.
Wow.
But I like the fact
It's
that...
totally clear.
Yeah.
Concept.
Good.
You have to show me how to do that.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
You have all the elements under control.
So, I mean, that's
Good
honestly,
luck
that's
and well done.
that's how we based it up. Like the pitch is based off like we're gonna be working with you guys. It has to come from where
That's
your work
great.
is. So
We really appreciate it.
They did so the most out of all three teams for keeping you close.
Yeah, exactly. What I think is
Important.
right? Yeah.
We need to work as
You know,
a
they
team.
were curious. What you do, guys? You know, trying to.
Yeah.
Because at the end we are having 2 days of production, right? So
everything prepped.
they have to know exactly what can we do really in order to go smooth, right?
Yeah, that was a huge part of the win for us. Collaborator perish, with all of your partners. It happened between Alex and I right away. It worked phenomenally by just bringing them in, by asking them questions, by working closely with our photographers. They did go to Adobe and let them know that, hey, we think these guys can pull it off. We're a little concerned about the other teams, and that was a huge help. And when I say partners, I do mean partners, not vendors. And this is how we treat everyone that we work with. We bring all of our creative resources in early and often, and we collaborate with them. And the same thing can be said for clients that you guys will be working with in the future. Bring them in early, bring them in often, talk to them, share your ideas with them. Let them be a part of the process. The more that you can do that, the more ownership they'll take over it, or share it with you rather. And if you ever do, and this is a tough thing, but if you ever do find yourself in a situation where you feel like a client is just treating you like a vendor, not a partner, then the folks that you work with might want to start considering the fact that maybe this isn't the right client for you or your agency. So that's how we operate. And we then got into the pitch, and this is going to be a longer chunk of video for you guys. I thought it would be very helpful to A, see the teams pitch their work, but B, more importantly, to see the deliberation process. I remember when I first started out, I'd always think about what they were talking about. What are they deciding? What questions are they asking about the agency? And I thought that there would be these deep, brilliant, meaningful questions. And I don't know, you guys, you tell me afterwards if you think that this was some really heavy deliberation.
Okay.
It's really been, I think, an honor for all of us working on this for Feed Project, so thank you for the opportunity. We'll turn it over to Cynthia and Mike to get right into the work.
Feed is a brand for us that creates good products that help feed the world. This was our North Star that we kept making sure we tracked back to no matter what.
Yeah. Everything we do should align with this. This is all Swipe. We love, love, love your brand boards, the way that you photograph the models, the natural lighting, the way that they're dressed. But as a concept, we can illustrate this bag has a number attached to it. And that number is a huge set of meals.
We feel your key differentiator is the number on the bag. It's what makes it so immediately tangible. But then we were also impressed when we did the map.
This is kind of a play on what we think about models. It says, I wear a 35. And so it's kind of like, oh, that's a ridiculous number.
Right, and so
and so you can see the headline changes based on product.
Yeah.
When you showed the first image, I got anxious about the possibility of the campaign turning on itself and there being this association with thin models and hungry children. What would the average consumer be able to do to show that she's a model?
Well, see, I think what average is kind of the cool thing about it. Like anybody with their bag is modeling. You're just being you. This is one of those like kind of unusual, hopeful, experiential campaigns where it's called the Torn Shirt Movement. You're wearing this thing. You're making a statement. I bought the bag. It's like I feel good. I've matched my style. I'm wearing this bag. I've fed lots of children for a long period of time. There's a lot going on, but only the people that are familiar with Feed or wear the product or know somebody that has it are familiar with that. So how do we get those other people and how do we do something interesting that's newsworthy or risky? Kind of an interesting idea, installation, kind of unique play on pop culture and food, that youth demographic, and you have Feed. So we have the feed truck, pay to feed someone else. A ticker, keep trucking, 578 meals, donated through this truck, and people can take their pictures with it and share it on social media, and it can live outside of the physical realm.
It's very disruptive it comes to different events. So it is that nice, it could be lined up with food. I like that food to food connection, but also event marketing.
It's so disruptive, it stops to make you think about just the glut of food around you.
Down my thing, and then I'm like, what's this?
Who is the Feed girl? Okay, and then when we asked a little bit more contextually, like what's her story, what's her deal, what's she really all about? She's a weekend tripper, a global adventurer, traveler, right? A farmer's market shopper, lives in the city, into entertaining. She's a home decor enthusiast. She takes photos, she's curious. Also, she's a practical mom. You do all of this stuff on many varying levels throughout every day of your life. And that adds up to each person's individual journey. And that leads us into our first campaign of My Bag, My Journey. So what we've done with this, and this is where we're going to stray a little bit from the model side of the fence, is we do want to feature real people.
If we have real people, you already have your customer base, you know the people, your go-to people. We can create landing pages which feature those people and reviews. Small, they don't have to be long. It could be their experience, like this journey through their eyes. How we can just show a journey through different levels and different places with different characters. And it could be added as you go over time, and so you're creating more content, you can layer more and more content to this video. We work closely with Gus and Lo, and this is their work. So we're working with talent that we can work with and do this stuff in the next 2 days. So this is real work.
As we were exploring, the monogram and the personalization, monogram, letters. Okay, what other kind of things with letters travel the world? And that took us to the realm of chain letters. You get one, you share it, you get one, you share it, you pass it on. And without further ado, this would be a video that people take and then share online.
My personalized feed bag from my dear friend Courtney Coward. Courtney, thank you so much for bringing me into this, and I'm going to give this bag to my good friend Lisa Reed. So now it's your turn to feed the journey.
Okay, so that's another way that we can literally take, the bag, turn it into a message, plus up sales by having people just kind of spread it to the next and the next and the next.
The simple tactic here is to overlay your product with the destination. this provides with flexibility of creating content, advertising, and changing the photography as often as you want to in order to maintain this 8 to 10 weeks. And this is sort of like a colorful yet simplified version of what is attainable.
Boom, boom, boom. Night on the town, 25 days of school meals. Weekend Explorer, 75 days of school meals, or Weekend Explorer, providing meals around the world. And stylistically,
this is what we're going for. Like, we were using the photography you already had existing, but we want to be able to like bring in something new.
Just trying to think if there's a chance for more of a story about their journey to want to give. And I think it's in there. It's just not. It's a little bit buried in the I'm going home.
When you were talking about language, my journey, were there other words that you were using around, like my bag, my life, my...
The word journey starts to say is a collective effort that we're going through together. It's an experience. And whether or not you walk in on it with somebody else you know or not, is that we're going through the day together.
I think feed the journey I actually like that as a line. My bag, my journey is where it gets a little bit heavy for me. It's like, okay, what are we gonna talk about?
Oh, that's
you know what I mean? So it's a little bit more postery, and I like the real people aspect of it. You can really see from model to mom, probably one and the same in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
I really like using everyday people. We did a campaign, if you can call it that, 2 years ago. It was just kind of thrown together, but I think it was that authenticity that people were relating to.
You don't already have built-in shoppers, you already have built-in advocates. It becomes reciprocal when you can see more people that, oh, they're just like me.
This is lifestyle meets magic. This is, from a distance, it's about the beauty of the bag and what it can do in your life. We would shoot it not unlike this, but a little bit more quiet because we want this whimsical visual to come out and express what the magic is that keeps flowing even after you've made the purchase or received the gift. We wanted to give you a couple options. It doesn't have to be butterflies, maybe it's flowers or something. But again, this is just your scrap, but even a close-up, a shot becomes a lot more dynamic with the attached illustration.
So the video feel for this, it's going to have the same look and feel as the print.
She's walking away from camera, her hair is fluttering in the breeze, or potentially the rain. We have ideas right now.
Voiceover, female voiceover, so you get the feeling it's the person walking. Gifts can change the way we look at the world. As we see maybe a long shot, we kind of maybe widen out and see her with the bag and the butterflies are kind of all the ways up there. An announcer and a super will come on the screen. Share your love with the Voyager tote and help feed kids around the world. This one here, we really love the thought of using your tote bag as a gift bag.
As gift wrap.
As gift wrap, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're gift bags. Gift bag. I buy bags. I buy bags for the holidays because I'm lazy.
So the gift is the flowers in the bag. Yeah, and it's viral, but it's not preachy. You're living with them with something that'll last forever. Unlike the flowers.
Cool. Judges, we're going to be back into room number 2 where you guys can have a little privacy and regroup on all you've seen and heard.
My 2 cents, I met everyone that you just saw present 48 hours ago, as did they meet each other 48 hours ago. So you can only imagine sort of the interpersonal dynamics of sort of people getting to know each other, getting to know each other's creative styles, and how to give each other feedback. So it's been interesting. But they all really, I think, came around a turn about half a day ago, where they all kind of got to a place that they felt like they each had one really strong thing they could stand behind, and my job was really to just kind of help them flesh that out and kind of get it to a place that they could really present it to you and feel cogent and thoughtful. Sort of looking at this and looking at the work you guys just saw, I knew it was a marathon to the starting line, but like now the campaign work actually is going to begin. So my only encouragement to you would be obviously look for the kernel of the idea that you guys love the most, but also look for the team that you think you could trust the most to fulfill the execution.
Really impressive work. With that said, there's definitely a few for me that rise to the top, and I think more or less some of them sort of weighted more toward the giving and the gift, and I don't know how important that is, because some of the other ideas were also really great, but didn't rely so much on that idea of gift giving, how much that matters, or how some of the other ideas maybe could be tailored for a holiday gift giving season, but then work further on that.
The output I thought was really impressive, considering the timing and the level of finish. But if I can't look through this and remember it, then that's a bad sign. So I don't know if I saw a lot of strong headlines in print, but it is fashion. So from a fashion perspective, you want to capture that mood and style and finesse. There was something sticky about the dreams too. You know?
Yeah.
That idea that you feed dreams, and I could almost see it in that with it, because you've got this really iconic label.
From the first team, all I remember is the food truck.
Food truck was great.
It's just a really
Given the right
fun
circumstance.
way to disrupt an idea that was a disruption in its own
Yeah.
way, right? I liked some of the ideas in the third group's presentation around animating the bag. I think that's really cute. I didn't see a connection between any of the branding ideas. I still want to see a campaign that shows me women in different scenarios in print and video using the bags.
To me, the My Bag, My Journey is almost invisible. Like, I don't want to see that ever, anywhere. The Feed the Journey
Yeah,
is what
Feed the Journey
resonated
was
with me,
big.
because that was connection to the brand. All of your experiences are feeding your journey, and you're helping other people on their journey.
Can I ask about one that I think was somewhat polarizing, maybe too polarizing, and I think the model. I mean, I understand how they arrived at it, because they're looking at the brief and the examples of the other stuff. It
Yeah.
was,
I get that they're trying to go for like the fashion, which is what we told them, but I agree. I think exactly. I wear a size, like that just makes me cringe. And I think they're trying obviously to be controversial with that.
He kind of pokes, which often can get attention, but I just felt a sense of
So
inauthenticity.
you're not out to make people feel good about models.
No, that's not our challenge. Models are like, models are fine. They don't need our help.
Like, that's not our fault.
Let's not evaluate these as finals by any stretch, right? So let's evaluate it, just in the interest of everyone's time, as a concept and a team that can help us get to where we all want to be. Because if we're looking at these as like, this didn't nail that one thing, like a copy edit like that, I think is solvable. Where do we feel the most magnetism? Like, where are we getting pulled towards? And who's going to help ride shotgun with us to solve it? We've got 5 minutes to go.
Okay.
Top twos. Everyone put out 2 that they like, and then let's see where we net out.
Everything that we saw and heard today.
Okay, so granted, that was kind of a different situation. It wasn't like a company that was coming together that maybe, hopefully, when you pitch, you'll have someone that is in the room that has a vision for what has to happen. Now, they had consultants and, of course, Lauren, but it felt like they were really all kind of finding their way along as well. And I just, when I saw that, was a little surprised at how confused they were as well. But Michael Ventura, aka Creative Jesus, said this, and it's absolutely the right thing. Who's going to help ride shotgun with us? Which was a key point, because I'm not saying that the work isn't important. It absolutely is. But chances are, in pitch situations, you're going to be going up against other great agencies with other brilliant minds and outstanding work. So you really want to make sure that when you're presenting, you're projecting and you're sharing, because 9 times out of 10 in pitches, what the client is really buying is you. They're buying you. They're looking for a partner. They're looking for someone that they can build trust with, and that's absolutely crucial. So again, I'm not saying that the work can suck. It can't. I mean, as you saw, ours certainly wasn't there yet. It changed. It morphed constantly along the way. But like Michael said, who's going to ride shotgun with us? So in a pitch, how do we do this? Know your shit. Just know it inside and out. Just know exactly what you're talking about all the way through. Keep it light. Have fun with it. Entertain. It's not a serious thing. Just keep the whole thing light. It makes it more fun for you as well. Believe in your work. We knew that it wasn't quite there yet, but we weren't going to let them know that. So absolutely, no matter what, believe in your work. If possible, wherever you're working, hopefully they'll be going after products that you can believe in as well. Really, really easy for a product like Feed. But when you're getting into these new business pitches and things like that, being able to go after companies that have something that you really believe in makes it a lot easier. And damn, if you can believe in the client that you're going to be working with, that's also crucially important. If they believe in what they're doing, then you can really get behind it and get passionate about the work. And I do say working with, not for. And again, this goes back to the whole vendor-partner topic, because the best work, the most fun, and the best trust and comfort levels do come from building that relationship
with your client. And it's not an agency-client relationship, it's just a relationship unlike any other. So I say work with, because again, you want to bring your client in early and often. Be candid, ask them tough questions. And this doesn't just apply to after the pitch, if you win, it absolutely applies to the pitch itself. If you can get access to the client beforehand, talk to them, share ideas with them, ask them questions, then you're more likely to win the pitch before you even pitch. So that's kind of a huge thing to keep in mind. So here's another letter that I'd sent to Lauren about when we pitched, confidence. This all comes down to really believing in what you're doing. It's easy to believe in the Feed brand, but there were puzzles we needed to solve, questions to be answered, insights to be attained in order for others to believe. When you can nail those down, you're able to understand and believe in what you're doing. As a result, you have confidence in the direction you're taking and confidence in what you're presenting. Although I like to call it sharing, and I really do. Presenting just feels so formal. I much prefer to just try and share as best as humanly possible. So we pitched, they deliberated, and winner is...
So this was David and Kelly's. So we loved your Feed Dreams concept. This was Cynthia and Michael's, Give What Counts. We loved Matt and Alejandro's My Bag, My Journey. But for the finale, we like a drum roll, we decided that we want to go with Feed Journeys. So thank you. I'm so grateful and so humbled to have you all at like our beck and call, and to bring our brand to life, and to bring our holiday campaign to life and beyond. It means so much, and truly is like the best gift you could give us. So thank you. Happy hour, celebrate. But again, so grateful. Thank you.
Okay, so fun fact, they actually deliberated for a really, really, really long time. You heard Lauren say happy hour, so as they were deliberating, they were setting up this whole bar in the space. So as we're just standing and waiting, I was just kind of like, screw it, I'm just gonna start drinking. So I did, I cracked open a couple of beers, and I was talking to Michael Simon, an art director from the other team there, and he was telling me about his upcoming wedding, that he came from a very traditional Jewish family in Minneapolis. His fiance came from an Indian family, and he was telling me this story about the wedding, and where he was going to have to wear the whole silk pajamas, ride in on a horse, have a scabbard and a yarmulke, and I was chewing gum, I'd been drinking, and I started laughing so loudly that I ended up biting my tongue. I bit my tongue so hard that I just started to taste the blood in my mouth, and I turned over to my partner Alejandro, I was like, is that bad my tongue? Is it bad? And he literally just, oh God, like did one of these things. And then at this point, I'm now thinking, oh my God, my tongue's gonna look like this. It's not gonna be good. The camera's gonna be on me, blood is gonna be in my mouth. So I'm actually kind of hoping we don't win at that point. But we did. I didn't have blood all over my face, which was nice. So then it's all about congratulations, you won, group hug, drink more beer, take pictures, get interviewed, drink more beer. Super stoked. Oh yeah, our client has some changes. Of course they do.
So guys, minor heads up. One, but the idea is going to have to shift a little. I'm going to do a powwow with Martin and her team to kind of just get them aligned, and then I'm going to sit with you guys and them, and we're going to talk it out and just make sure we're all simpatico. Yeah, I mean, it's like everything else. You win and then everything changes. So stay tuned. We'll try. So if I could paraphrase kind of what the jury was talking about and then sort of where we're kind of landing. The big sort of crux of it is journey, right? Is sort of like, do we stick with journey or do we deviate from journey? I think that's probably the best place to start because that's going to inform a lot of things that come out of it.
Some people loved it, others had mixed feelings about the use of journey. And it might even be my bag, my journey, or that phrasing of it versus hashtag feed the journey or my feed journey. So maybe it is still using Journey, but in a different context.
Can we talk about categories of influencers?
I mean, obviously a mom.
Yeah, mom,
Food, blogger, influencer.
So I'm thinking like Jamie Beck, Danny Jo Girls, Athena Calderon, Joanna from Cup of Joe.
I was thinking LaTanya.
LaTanya.
Oh yeah. Just from like the mom and kids perspective.
Yeah.
Who in music do you guys think of?
Oh, I don't know Baptiste, but I'm sure he might be really busy nowadays. On the Colbert Show. It'd be really cool. With his like thing.
Yeah.
No way. Oh, so perfect. Yeah.
I thought Michael said that perfectly. You win the pitch, then everything changes, and it absolutely does. I mean, of course it does. You rarely go from pitch to production. I say rarely because it has happened in few instances for me. But, you know, this was a different situation because we didn't have time to revise what we were going to do. We were shooting the very next day with models. We didn't want models. We told them, we don't want them, send them home. We were stuck with models. So we had to jump right into it. We had to use the models because what the hell else were we going to do? We told Lauren that if we were going to use them, we were going to call them out as models. We're going to clearly say that in the ads and try and get a real story from them. So we did this and we pushed back that hard because we really cared about what we were doing, and we cared about the Feed brand. We wanted to represent it appropriately. So this was in the email that I sent to Lauren and her team. Care. This is an easy one to explain. When you work on something that matters, that you care about, you go all in. There is no quit when you care. It raises your emotional investment in the work. And at the end of the day, that investment clearly shows up in the final product. Now again, this was a completely different experience. We had no concept to work with. We didn't have the people that we wanted, but we were hitting the streets of New York the very next day. So what do? You kind of jump in, and here's what happened.
The models are ready. It's gonna rain after, so it's time to move and start.
That's it.
We're gonna switch from video to photo sometimes. We're gonna shoot stills, you're gonna walk like slower, and when we shoot on video, it's more like natural acting. Yeah, good. Good.
We just got like a neighbor call the cops. He's at the window.
I just want him to do this thing fast.
You look back, okay?
Time left.
And action. Good. Okay.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah, let's move up.
Let's move.
Thanks. Oh, get that. Let's throw a feedback on her. Should I ask her? Maybe put on a feedback and walk by.
Oh, maybe.
I would.
That would be great. Just do it.
And action.
We are shooting a campaign for Feed.
One more time.
Do you know Feed? Would you mind being in our video? Sure. That would be amazing.
Lauren, nice to meet you.
And she actually owns a feedback, so she's like an authentic Feed girl.
We're gonna go to the corner. I will show you. And there's the last one we're gonna do. That we found this really nice spot earlier. This is what we're gonna have. Like you walk in this line. This direction. And I think that we're gonna turn that into like Matt's gonna ask you questions after we're done with that.
Sure.
And all right, so we'll start with that. Are you good to go?
Speeding.
That's great.
Yes, we need sound. All right, Danielle, you're talking right into the lens. You're addressing your audience.
Sure.
If you could, let's just start off with a little introduction.
Hi, I'm Danielle Carrillos. I'm a lifestyle editor. I live here in New York City. This is Calliope. She's a professional baby. Okay, so motherhood is such an incredible journey, but it's awesome too. And I feel like once you're a mom, you are very conscious of other mothers. So being able to help in some small way is every mother's dream.
Yes! Yes!
Oh,
Preach!
yeah.
Oh my God.
That was perfect. That at the end. Okay, go.
No idea.
No?
Okay, so this was good. We were starting to feel like maybe we were headed down like the right path. We just decided to go out and start recruiting people on the street. I tried to recruit several groups of women, but no surprise, bald guy runs up to a group of women and says, hey, can you be in my video? It didn't work too well. But Danielle was amazing. Her family was such a sweet group of people. She was all about it. She dove right in. And that's really one of the best things that you can kind of do. When you're in a situation like this, stay loose, stay fluid, and just go with it. And if you're not sure if what you're going to do is the right thing sometimes by just running up to people and asking them, and hey, can we do this, can we do this, can we do that? We didn't always have permits where we ended up shooting, and that's okay, because sometimes it really is better to beg forgiveness than ask permission. Just go ahead and do shit. So we did that. We thought we were on this high note. We thought we were heading in the right direction. We thought, yeah, we're gonna make this happen. And then things just started to go south.
Rain, no problem. We will manage. Do you mind move a little bit back? Here, a little bit, just for the picture.
What's going on there? Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding.
Oh no, it's not possible that this is happening just in front of us. The drama is gonna make the picture better.
Now this taxi driver's yelling at us. This is total chaos. And I get like beautiful imagery, a little like inspirational copy goes a long way, but like what is the extra?
We've done that and we do that, and it's not, it's, people will say like, wow, what an elevated, beautiful ad for feed,
Totally.
but it's not gonna grab somebody's attention and make people talk after. Because we're also getting away from the whole like, the mandate that we had for a sticky campaign, like something that's like highly shareable.
Yeah,
and this just
totally.
isn't.
No,
This
isn't
enabling
what we
part of it
need.
at all. This is not what we need. It's just not even that we've done it before. I feel like it's just like something that people would like flip right by because it's just like feed the journey. I've seen it, I've heard it. Like, and again, it doesn't have to be own it, but I feel like it has to be something like that, like own it. It's like, what does that mean? Like, or owning it, where it's like, I'm owning the fact that I'm an artist, I'm a mom, and I'm also a philanthropist.
Yeah.
Own it. I'm owning this bag, and I'm also owning the fact that, this is crazy.
Yeah, so at that point, yeah, the honeymoon was like done. That shit was over. That wasn't happening. The client was out on the streets. They were coming up with their own concepts. They're coming up with Own It. And Alejandro was out shooting. Meanwhile, the feed team had recruited a bunch of actual people who were feed advocates. I was back at Sub Rosa interviewing them, prepping them. We finally got them out on the street. But, of course the honeymoon was over. Of course they were a little bit freaked out by this. We went right from pitch into production, and we didn't have any time to foster trust. And again, I can't impart upon you how incredibly important that is. Really, the agency-client relationship, it really is no different than any other meaningful relationship in your life. And that just takes time. It takes time to have these candid conversations with one another. It takes time to foster a true mutual respect for one another. But you have to approach it that way. Approach it as though you would any other important relationship in your life. So at that point, shit was kind of hitting the fan. It was stormy, it was gnarly. I mean, what do you do? We've all seen this, but that is all you can do. Just kind of stay calm and keep going. So good thing was we had real people, finally. Like I said, we went out and shot them, but no concept. Real people, no concept, not a great spot to be in. So we just kept on trucking.
You feel better now about the pivoting that way?
About what?
You feel better about having pivoted that way?
The concept still just needs to be, insofar as like capturing the images and how we're kind of presenting their story.
Yeah.
I think we're still in the hunt for something that just makes it really compelling. Right. Gotta crack that nut. You realize I haven't cracked it. No. It's gonna be some sit down, think, write, earbuds in, music on for a while, just to get to a place to share some stuff so we can continue to kind of like build from there.
You need to make time for that.
I'm gonna do some tonight, but I think I'm gonna have to do that more tomorrow too. All right. Sounds like I got some work to do.
You do, my friend.
So tomorrow, we have right now, I mentioned John Baptiste, who is a good friend, musician, and I want to talk about the video. And he walks with this amazing instrument, and he's the coolest guy ever. So I think he should be leading the video, and maybe even be the music for the video. So that's going to be a big get. I know we're shooting in Long Island City tomorrow, ideally, which I actually think visually would be amazing with the bridge. Okay, so the vision for the video, we should think of a fun song.
Yeah.
He can originally
Compose
compose.
something. And something that we talked about is sort of the statement interview, and he starts playing turns and walks away, and then everyone starts walking behind him, and the music plays.
That's exactly it.
But he's-
Almost like it's like we're following it.
Exactly, we treat
Like
he
marching band.
makes a statement is like what we're talking about. First, sort of what is this collective effort? Like what is our collective
Yeah.
effort? We do this. If we have him play, if we can get this to work, he would be playing first. Say like we have the interview with him. He starts playing turns and he walks, and then everyone starts walking.
Love it.
If he plays the music and here's like this is where this could get really interesting. But we could have him play the song and he shows up in between throughout the video.
Playing. Yeah. I think it's fun.
So I think we could definitely.
That's one way to make it.
There's one way of making it.
I love that.
So I think
So starting, stopping,
stopping
maybe in the little
in the middle.
middle.
So he just became this thread through.
Yeah.
I mean, this could tie it all together.
So, you saw me in that back room there. I just had to take some time to get away and kind of figure my stuff out. And it's interesting, they didn't capture this part in the video at all, but at one point, Lauren came into the back room to talk to me. And before that, we were talking about shooting the models and getting their story and all that stuff, even though they weren't actual feedback advocates. And Lauren looks like such a sweet, nice person, and out of nowhere, she was just like, why the hell would anyone care about that? And it was like completely out of character from the way that she'd been, but it completely snapped me to attention. It was like this moment of sincere candor from her, and I was like, yeah, why the hell would anyone care about that? So I'm in the room, I'm working, she came back, she was talking to me, and I let her know how important that was, and that we had to be completely candid with each other throughout this entire process. We didn't have time to bullshit each other. And she told me, okay, I'll continue to do that, you have to do the same thing. And that's when I said, okay, well, Tasha, the Own It lady, who's really a great person, we were having issues with her. She'd come up and say this and do this and do this, we want this. And then Lauren would come up and be like, well, why are you doing this? Well, we don't want to do it. This was something that, she's like, no, I don't want to do this. This isn't what I talked about. So I let Lauren know that we were just kind of getting some bogus direction and feedback from her, and that they had to be absolutely on the same page throughout this entire thing, otherwise we weren't going to hit our deadline. So that candor kept us going in the right direction, and it made sure Lauren knew how important that was to us. So candor. Total honesty with your creative team and your client. The moments of candor I experienced during the challenge snapped me to attention, got the wheels turning, and fueled my desire to deliver a home run. Also, it kept everyone on the same page, and that keeps the train on the tracks, arriving at our final destination on time. So after that, Alejandro came back and told me about the whole John Baptiste conversation. And I was pretty dug in at that point. I didn't want to use a celebrity. I felt like it would be cheating the concept, or cheating our ability to come up with something unique and on our own. But I wanted to keep an open mind, and in so doing, open new doors. And I actually went online, looked at some videos about John Baptiste, and realized he's actually quite an amazing individual. So we went ahead, kind of burnt the candle at both ends, stayed up, listened to that idea, looked more at John, and kind of cracked that nut, came back, met Lauren the next day in Queens, represented a new concept, and kind of crossed our fingers. So thanks for like giving us some time yesterday to just like kind of get away and refocus and kind of vector in on things.
Taking that time.
So kind of tapped back into this insight. I was getting there with some of the writing last night. An easy way to do massive good. And as we've been talking all along, you know, journey, not journey, it's a word that's kind of been used, been done. We want to say it in a way that's never been said, right? Especially for this category, okay? So forget the journey, okay? Forget the journey, and we're gonna ask a new question. Can a bag be more than a bag? Okay, and that took us into this direction. Follow my lead.
And it rhymes.
Feed. Follow my lead, can a bag be more? I'm gonna start asking different questions. Can a bag carry hope? Mine can. Can a bag spread goodwill? Mine can. Can a bag change the world? Mine can.
Cool.
And that's
Very
what we're landing.
powerful.
I strongly feel like we've taken it in a better direction in terms of the creative execution, in terms of it being unique, which is where the journey kind of hang up was. It was definitely a little been there, done that. And I also feel like strategically, we've actually deepened the messaging. I think it's actually doing more than the my bag, my journey was.
Yeah,
And
I agree. I totally agree.
Let's get done by you, brother. All right, so we'll let you digest this.
Cool. No, I mean, generally, I think it's great. I think it's really strong. I think it's awesome.
Great.
I want to share with my team too, obviously, but
Absolutely.
I think it's great. Yay, good work, guys.
Plane's coming in.
Awesome.
Plane is
I
coming in.
know. Woo, I know. I feel like yesterday too, we were like, yeah, hustling without having this clarity. And I think that's why Tasha and I kept being like, we need to sit down.
Yeah.
But obviously you needed a moment to like actually take a deep breath. You and I needed to talk, you know, like it all happened for the reason it was meant to be.
Team break.
Team
Let's
break.
get rolling.
Woohoo.
All in.
All in.
Boom. All in. What? Now we gotta go to shoot.
I know. Now we're back at it.
Yeah.
All right, so as you guys aren't sleeping and you're working your asses off, this is an easy one for you guys to know. I mean, there is no quit with what we do, especially when you can work on a brand like Feed, where you realize there is a real purpose behind it. So just stay tenacious. Stay very tenacious. This is what I told Lauren. There will be twists, there will be turns. When something isn't working, stop, listen, take a new direction, then dig in and make it happen. And the whole keep calm and carry on thing, this was another part that I sent her because it's crucially important. This one actually did take me a while to learn during my 15-year career, and it was incredibly valuable during the Adobe Feed Make It Challenge. Stress clouds your mind and stops you cold. It absolutely does. Having the ability to maintain calm, to be a rock, enables you to move forward. And we did move forward. And we got to meet a new alien by the name of John Baptiste. And again, you know, I felt like I didn't want to use a celebrity. I felt like we were just kind of cheating our ability to kind of come up with a concept and we're just going to hang our hat on using a famous person. But what we didn't realize that while we had come up with a new direction, we had kind of like landed the plane, we felt grounded. John was about to now really launch the rocket. So here's John.
John, hey! Thanks so much for doing this on your like peaceful day of rest. You're the best, thank you. Ooh.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's not gonna connect. All right, so we'll do it in the rain. I'd rather have rain than enough. Whatever. So worst comes to worst, we tail back here and we do it right here. It's fucking rain.
Where we going, the spot that we're going, we are under the bridge.
Under the bridge? All right. I trust you.
We are exactly under the bridge. How you doing? Nice to meet you. Yeah. Let's do something cool, okay? Yeah.
Umbrellas are on that table.
Hombre.
you made of music? It's just, you are music. Woo. Should we like...
That's perfect, man. That's so good.
Maybe a good idea to have someone watching, kind of, you know, am I being paranoid? Just to have a watcher, like, around the corner there? Yeah, third rail. Stay away.
Don't touch rail. Alejandro, can he?
I know, it really didn't have to be said, but it was.
He's covering up the whole bag. Maybe.
More of this, look, like here.
As long as he doesn't get hit by fresh drags.
I know. I mean, I'm indispensable now.
No.
This is the best way to end this. Dude.
You're the best. Thank you. Thanks for giving me your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what do you think, man?
I think we can make this into a big thing.
So John absolutely was from another planet, like somewhere deep in the Musicana system. I'm not sure what the deal was, but he absolutely was just a total alien. And at first I wasn't sure if this was like an act, is it a shtick, is he high, like what's the deal? But he is just a completely unique personality. And he was just so giving of his time and so genuine. And had I not taken that risk to put myself in this uncomfortable position, I never would have met John. And he really is just, I can't even explain it. I'm a writer by nature, so I should be able to, but he was just completely out of this world. So he really did help us launch that rocket. I don't know if you guys could tell, but the other thing that happened here was that from those initial moments out on the streets in New York when it was just kind of chaos and confusion and we were just trying to keep our shit together, to this, there was a completely different vibe. You land that idea, you have focus, you have direction, you feel good about it, and you have to enjoy that all the way through. And it's a really important part. You have to keep it light because no matter what happens in your career, no one's gonna die in the OR, and that's a good thing. So have fun with it. That's what I told Lauren. Fun. This has always been the way I operate. Work hard, but keep it light, keep it fun. This is especially crucial on high-pressure productions. I mean, it's really important to just keep the vibes good and positive. And it was vitally important when we were the production and in the middle of producing for a feed. So we finally started to get close to a right direction. We landed on a new visual direction. We were getting there. We were feeling strong. We were about to share with the client's marketing team. Unfortunately, on that call, Lauren wasn't there. We had all of her other minions on the call. We presented this work to them. Yeah, yes, we love it, this is great, this is perfect. And we didn't have Lauren on the call. So afterwards, we got a note saying that Lauren wanted to talk about it. We thought she was just gonna kind of give us some props. You know, the team shared it with me, we love it, I love it. Let's move forward. So here's how the call with Lauren went.
Man.
Hey, Lauren.
Hello.
Hi, Lauren. How are you?
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, guys.
Hi. What was your initial reaction now that we have you by yourself?
Yeah, my initial reaction is, I mean, it's fast and forward and fun and everything we thought about. There's a lot going on. Was kind of, in a nutshell, my initial reaction. And I know the other girls on my team kind of gave y'all the green light. I just am not, honestly, honestly feeling great about this giant vine can order. I think we're gonna get there. I know we're gonna get there. I just think it's a lot. And mine can follow my lead. I don't even know where my eyes are going on this. It's like, I think we're losing the power of the copy and the message.
We had to break out of that sea of sameness that is 90% of the content you see. Yeah, it's all the same thing after the same thing after the same thing.
Follow my lead. I think feed should be at least kind of double-ish the size it is currently, or maybe just, 1/3 bigger.
We'll give you a few options for these before the end of the day. So tomorrow morning, tonight?
Tonight.
Lo is saying tonight. So no one goes to bed until all the images are looked at.
Don't kill me.
So feedback tonight before going to bed?
Sounds like a plan. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for understanding.
Okay, talk to you.
Bye. Hey guys.
Bye.
So you're good?
Lauren has left the conference.
That was.
Okay, we're clear.
It won't be as visually as compelling or like stopping it. It felt like what she was looking for is much more of a kind of traditional construct of, headline,
And did anyone else on her
image,
team
copy,
speak up to kind of say?
tagline.
No, I think it won't stand out. It's gonna blend that segment of the market and the competition. They'll look fairly similar, and they'll have the similar style photography. We've achieved something that's on a much fresher vein and that deserves to stand out.
They're really being a focus group of one, and that one being Lauren.
John, you were right about the logo.
Yes.
When she said, I want it 20% bigger, and I was looking
Wait,
right
what?
at you. Come on.
A client wanted to make the logo bigger?
And we thought it was big
Mind
enough.
blown. Yeah, shit always happens. But good lesson to learn. Always present to the decider. Whoever's setting up the meetings for you guys, make sure that the decision makers are in the room at all times. Because if you don't do that, you just end up spinning wheels and just wasting a shitload of time, and it doesn't do anyone any good. So, again, time was not on our side. And, as a result of doing this, of not ensuring that we had the decider on the call with us, our bad, because we just ended up putting more work on our plate. And unfortunately, it wasn't work that we even wanted to do. It was a step in the wrong direction. So we backed ourselves into a corner by not ensuring that key decision maker was on the call. And I get her trepidation with this, I really do. I mean, for fashion advertising, we were taking her in an unconventional direction, and that was making her feel uncomfortable. And we hadn't had the time to, again, get her into that comfort level with us. So because of that, here's what we had to do.
This is what she wants. Yeah. But what I did, I changed this, and I think you saw this part. So I took this down, so I just did it last night and sent it to her with what she wanted. And the other thing that she wanted was this, like last night at 1 a.m. We're emailing, and it was just to do that, but it doesn't really hold, it doesn't connect.
No, not at all.
And I see the reasoning behind wanting to see it that way. Type in the photos. It's not gonna work in all of them, and that's leaving it to chance to have other people that is not our team deal with this with the different images. Treating it like this, it doesn't compromise the impact of the ad. I don't think I'm totally okay with this. What happens to the other one is that it changes the structure, and that's when we enter it's not just about design. It's more about how the story flows.
What do you think about getting together some kind of visual exercise so you can kind of see it in the landscape? And it's a great old school exercise to do. Would you do them not in the same magazine? I happen to have a couple Glamour magazines. I have a subscription, so I just have them with me all the time. That was a joke. I don't have a subscription to Glamour. I'm trying to be funny, and it's not working, obviously. Clearly, it's not working. They need it wrapped in that context. Getting it closer to finished is going to be a good thing at this stage. Do we feel like we're going to be at a point where we want to share the video with them? What else do we have to add to it?
Or are you done?
Okay, video is something very tricky just to send it away and have a look. It's good sometimes to show it in person, you know?
I agree with you. It's better to go and present something like that as opposed to just even getting on the phone and presenting. It's not the same thing. You want to get them out of their comfort zone and be here with us where we have more of a kind of controlled environment as opposed to being in their place where it's more of, it's their court, right? I kind of just want to have a little bit of a home court advantage so we can continue to move things
But
through.
also the practical thing, like we don't have time to get in traffic.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like, I mean, it took us half hour to get here. So,
Yeah, that's true.
It's tough, you know, the client agency relationship on both sides. It takes time, and we've been working with her very rapidly for a week.
You know, and I totally understand where she's coming from. She wants to see an option, and it's not wrong.
This brand is her baby. She hasn't just lived with it for a long time. She gave birth to it. Just weird saying that about a pregnant woman, but.
And we have to recognize that it's a jump for them in terms of graphics,
totally.
expression, fashion forward, but this is also what they ask, right?
Well, yeah, and we should come back to that. We should definitely kind of put that ball back in their court because that's certainly where we landed. Going in this direction is by all means a step backward from fashion forward.
That's pretty much in the nutshell what I said when I sent those two images. That
Right.
you know, this moves the needle, the other one doesn't.
Yeah.
This is exactly what they wanted to get out of this exercise.
Do we want to have them in here like one last time to kind of go over everything, the print, the video,
The meeting is like, here's the delivery of assets.
Yeah.
This is the campaign. This is your campaign. I think it's a presentation. It's not a discussion anymore at this point.
Yo. We have 5 minutes? Yeah. No kidding. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna go fast. Take the bull by the horns. We're in control now. We weren't. Thank you for calling me. There was more feedback and all this fun stuff. Didn't realize I was talking so long. We thought we nailed it. We didn't. Trust, trust, trust. More trust, more trust. I want to. Let's see. We're gonna go through some of the final work here. I'm gonna jump ahead, knowing that we only have 5 minutes. Bear with me, folks. That didn't work. Crap.
I'm done with all 3 layouts.
Everybody has to eat.
This time together, and this is the result. It's beautiful.
How does that video hit you guys? How does it make you feel when you see this?
We're very moved. Yeah, amazing. It's like the spirit, it's everything we wanted to communicate. It's fashionable, but yet it's that like slice of life. It relates, I mean, it's like a perfect complement to everything else you guys created too.
Really, truly from the place where we started, and we just knew as soon as we met you that you were such a strong team, and obviously Adobe behind. And but from a conceptual point of view and a copywriting and art direction point of view, we just knew and trusted that you could get us there. I'm gonna cry. At the end of the day, it is so important for us to really, really break through. And it's a noisy world, and it's a noisy world if you're a product company.
Yeah.
And the stakes are high for everybody that we serve, very high. So that's where all of that pushing came from. I couldn't be happier, and I just couldn't be more grateful. That you all sort of saw the value in doing this, and hopefully you're, even more invested in this kind of work because the world needs you.
Although frantic at times and sort of unclear at times, such a fun process. So it's not just a brand, it's not just products, it's something a lot deeper and a lot more meaningful. And to do it such justice, and push it beyond where it is exactly what we wanted. Thank you.
Let's do a common spice, guys. Spicy.
Chin, why not? Okay.
Okay, so love fest, lots of love here. It's nice to see see this part later, I did reach out to my friends at Adobe short notice because I wanted some of their insights and their feedback. I have an interview from John Capone, a creative director at Adobe, as well as Megan Dale. This was really her whole brainchild. I can't say enough about the people at Adobe. The team that we got to work with there were outstanding, sick talented, and just some of the most solid human beings you will ever meet if you were lucky enough to maybe go work there.
Matt, this doesn't.
So we're not going to listen to that, but final advice as you guys are getting ready for a portfolio session, just pop a cap in Fear's ass. You guys are all amazingly talented. You're passionate about your work. You're going to lose a lot of sleep. That's just part of what's going to happen in your career, but just get fear out of the way. Embrace it. Know that it means nothing. Have a blast at the recruiting session. We'll see you guys in a week. And if you get a chance, oh here, how about this?
How fucking awesome is Matt Walker?
That guy. I mean, he's just...
You're number 7.
Yeah. That Matt is just, I don't know, he's just amazing. He's like the most amazing creative writer I've ever worked with in my life.
Yeah, that was all bullshit to make fun of me. But look, if you want to, check out Y64 online. Again, we can't wait to see you guys in about a week or so. And, you know, please, check out Feed Projects. They really do a wonderful thing, and it's amazing because you really can't help change the world simply by buying a bag. So, thanks for listening, guys. Appreciate it.
We're not going to have time for the usual Q&A, because sometimes they have meetings right after this. Yeah, so anyone who has a question, we're going to be having lunch upstairs. Come in, come through, and come ask. You won't get lunch, but you will get answers to your questions.
I'll share. I ordered like 18 things, so happy to share.
One thing though, this brought to life